Mixing greens is interesting. You can start off with blue and yellow. Different blues, different yellows make different shades of green. Or if you buy a set and it has green in it, you can start off with that and add other colours. As I've wanted many different light shades to start with, I'm adding white to most of these greens. And so you don't get bored to tears, I've edited it so that you don't have to watch me stirring every single little one. So with the power of magic, we'll move on. There's a blob. I want this to be a little bit darker, so there's a blob of blue. And with the magic of editing, you will watch me stir this one. Now, I had the camera positioned wrongly, so for the longest time, while I did that much, you saw my hands and nothing else. When I finally realised and moved it down, I was this far in, so I apologise for that. This is a mid-tone, sort of a neutral pastel-y sort of green that I made enough of that I could do all that I wanted to do with it in one go. That way I'm not adding different colours, having to remix and getting a different colour, and as a result, gouache does something better than any other thing I've come across, and that is flat backgrounds. Totally flat colour. It's wonderful for that. Excuse me. So if you add water or have to make more of the same colour, you're going to lose that beautiful flatness. Painting this small, you have to go around some fairly little things, and it can take a while. It's a bit taxing. So I know you want to watch all of it, but it just takes too long. So I have done some cuts in this one so that we don't die of boredom. Plus, as I said, that mistake where I was actually painting nothing you could see except my forearms. So even so, you can see how careful I am painting around things, which they're only hints for me later. They don't really have to be there at all. It's just to give me a guide of, oh yes, don't forget there's a unicorn there. Don't forget there's a tree branch there. And most of that you'll see in the next video, not this one. So this is just the background trees, and I've taken the colour down to what will be the foreground. But there's a lot of this middle distance to do. All those negative white shapes you see will be the middle distance trees before I get to do the unicorns. And what's in front of the unicorns, just a few little plants blowing in the wind. While we're doing this, I'll tell you where I'm at with horses myself at the moment. I turned 60 recently, and it's been about 25 years since I've been on a horse. So I spoke to a friend of mine. I thought I was past the age where I could ride. I talked to my doctor, and he said, no, go for it. I spoke to a friend of mine who is a trainer. She trains horses. She trains people, not just in riding, but in how to look after horses. Hello, Ellie. And I'll put a link to her business down the bottom. and first we just got on one of her horses to see how much it hurt, to see whether, because I have an artificial hip now, and it didn't hurt at all, and I was a bit surprised. And then since then I've had one lesson on Xena, who's standard bred, which is a pacer. They don't generally have a good canter, so once you get to that stage you've got to swap horses. Some standard breds have a nice canter. Anyway, so I had my first proper lesson on Xena, and that was fine too. And since then it's been raining. All the horses are lame because they're standing in wet weather being miserable, and I'm wishing we won lotto so I could buy Ellie an indoor arena with some stables attached so I could get the horses out of the paddock. It has been raining so much that in this May, and what's the date today? The 21st. It's the 21st of May, and in this 1 month, May, 21 days of it, we've had a year's worth of rain. We're over it. Another friend of mine who lives on a dirt road with a low bridge going over the Mary River has been flooded in most of the month. It slows down enough so that she can get out and grab supplies and run back before she gets flooded in again. We've had enough weather. We can do without weather. What I'm doing here, I'm putting room for some bushes. I don't know if I drew them in or not. I may have. But I'll also put the unicorn in front of a tree. And when I go around the branches, I don't notice straight off, but he has a nose horn. Or she has a nose horn. It's one of the branches coming off the tree. I will see that before too long and remove it. But at the moment, she looks like a bit of a rhinoceros. Once again, this isn't what the mane's going to look like. I'm just giving myself an indication. This is where the mane goes. And it doesn't worry me if I don't get the outline of the horse right. It's better if I paint over it a little bit because the colour of the horse will cover it anyway. Gouache covers amazingly well. It's very opaque. But then again, the horses are going to be light colours. I don't want the colour to mix too much with the background colour. Easy enough to do with black. I don't know what it's going to be like with white. But it will be fine, I'm sure, one way or another. And if I let it dry a couple of days before doing the unicorns, it will be even less likely to move. And then, of course, applying white without any water. I haven't used much water with this. It's all solid colour. When using one solid colour like this, it can get a little monotonous. So it's good to have shapes to go around to break it up. All that background underneath the trees is going to look a lot different by the time I've done the middle ground trees, which are now in white. I've discovered that she's got a nose horn, so I'm removing it. And she looks so much better. And that colour green, I quite like it against the purpley pink and yellow of the sky. I'm at the moment using that background and adding a little bit more blue to it to make it darker so that I can put in some detail. I think I made it a little too dark, but once I have done the trees in the middle ground, it all sorts of fits together. And because, once again, this is like watching paint dry, I started, and then hopefully, I think, after a while, I just edited it out. You can see what I'm doing. Well, you can't at the moment, but you will. I'm just putting in little, what would you call them, clumps of leaves, branchlets, the general shape that they make. And there we go. So you don't have to watch all of it being done. You can see there. It's getting towards the time of day where my CBD oil is wearing off and my shake is coming back. I didn't notice it at the time, but I noticed it on the film. And there's no real, I don't have any real plan when I start these. I just put them where I think that they should go and try to make them shaped like clumps of leaves. I won't do individual leaves or anything like that because this is the distance and it's not supposed to have too much detail. And although it looks a bit shocking, the light and the dark, it will settle down. Now please remember to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. It's the only way that YouTube knows we're here. And I know myself how easy it is to forget to press that like button. But thank you.